Okay, welcome aboard. We got another little update. Tangential, but perhaps not completely unrelated to the Salvation story. The Scrivener ship that we saw at the wreck of the Hesperus, salvaging it, is being claimed by the Orion University. And what they're saying is that the people who are on the Scrivener now, the Scrivener Clan, were once academics sent off on an exploration trip over 200 years ago, and it's their descendants on board the ship now. And they came from somewhere called Scriveners College, which had been absorbed into the wider Orion University. And so therefore Orion University, having gone through some paperwork recently, some old paperwork, are now saying that the Scrivener's Dredger ship is their property and the Scriveners have to return it. Alright, I'm in the system now. And there's a few carriers out here already. And we're going to the ring mine, which is apparently where you get the message from the Orion University asking you to locate the Scrivener ship for them so they can claim it as their own. And I'm going to pick up this message so you can see it. The rebel in me says the Scriveners should fight this with every fibre of their being. When you think of evil corporations in the future, you don't often think of universities, do you? It's usually big dystopian cybernetic or weapons companies or something. Not the university. But this is Elite Dangerous, where even the university has a standing army and is prepared to go to any means necessary to protect their research and their intellectual property. Here we are. And just as I come into the system, before even docking, I have the incoming message. So you don't even have to dock to get this.
Greetings, Commander. Please approach the station at a safe speed and be mindful of other pilots in the area.
This is a message for Commander Phil P2. I represent Deep Space Mining. We have been contacted by Orion University to remunerate pilots for providing any data on the location of the Dredger currently occupied by the Scriveners Clan. We have taken the liberty of uploading the Dredger's profile to your ship's systems. You will need to scan all of the uplinks to provide a match, at which point we will get in touch. We have one rather shaky lead. An asteroid miner who occasionally bunks here claims to have glimpsed an unusual megaship while returning from a long and apparently erratic journey from the Heart Nebula, approximately 250 to 350 light years from here. It was thought he may have been mining at a nearby planetary ring, but we were unable to ascertain any more details. Orion University will pay handsomely if you return data on the Dredger to us. The standard payment is 20 million credits, with an additional payment of 250 million credits for the first 10 pilots to deliver the data. Details will be provided at the time of identification. 250 million is a pretty good reward for the top 10 commanders to find the Dredger. Shows how desperate they are for this data. They're ready to pay that kind of cash. 250 million to 10 people and 20 million to just anyone who finds it, even if other people have found it already, even if other people have already handed in information, and even if you're not telling Orion University anything new by then, they will still pay you 20 million for making the effort. They really want this data bad. Is it just the data? Is there more to it? Is there something about the ship they want to? I can't imagine what that might be, and there's no hints as to what that might be. The interest seems to be purely in the 200 years of exploration data. But we'll see where this story goes. It might not be an epic universe-spanning story, but it's an interesting one. So wouldn't you know it, while I was in the process of making a video about it, they only found it. Anyway, however,
When it started, they set a direction where the dredger was going.
yeah, that's right, and that's more than we had. But you're still looking at a lot of stars. You're still looking at a hell of a lot of stars. I did not expect it. I mean, I expected it to be found. I just didn't expect it to be found within a couple of hours, you know.
Nah, I didn't expect a couple of hours either, but maybe 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that some of the area had already been searched, because Canon did do a sort of cursory search last time, but they didn't do a big, heavy one, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't go in depth with it.
They did put it in a ring. Okay.
Yeah. It's quite a nice looking ringed planet, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks interesting.
I wasn't going to go find it because I didn't like the idea of, you know, Orion University being instantly informed when I found the dredger, you know. But, I mean, since it has now been found and lots of people have told Orion anyway, I do want to see what the logs say. Yeah, here's a dredger that we all know and love. Last time we saw it, it was just about to start munching on the Hesperus, and then instead of doing that, it decided to jump instead, and apparently this is where it got to. Orion University has revealed that...
Yeah. I read that one. It was yesterday, I guess.
Right, so you know all about that one.
Yep.
Well, that's what this is. These people are apparently the descendants of an academic exploration from a college that was later absorbed into Orion University, and now Orion University is saying, you know, we want our property back because somebody's been going through some old records and just discovered that Scrivener College got amalgamated into Orion University in 3125. But honestly, I think they've got a... I think the Scriveners have got a case to say, well, look, we've been looking after this ship for the last 200 years. You didn't even care about its existence until you found out you might own it, and now you just want to kick us off it and take it back and give us nothing. No attempt to negotiate, just give us our ship back.
Did you scan the dredger already?
No, I'm just here now. So I did see a funny comment. Here we go. Scrivener Clan warning. Be warned, we do not... Yeah. This is exactly the same warning message as I got last time when I scanned it at the Hesperus. Be warned, we don't communicate with outsiders. We won't initiate hostile action, but you're cautioned not to interfere. I'm wondering if the logs are the same logs as they always were. If this is the same or whether there's some new information here. I don't know. But, I'll go and see. Author Dean Colonel Theselius? Yeah. Department, Strategy College, topic summary reports. The processing of imported materials from megaship H002255, that's the ID of the Hesperus, has now entered its final phase. The last batch of heavy metals is en route to our matter recycling printers, and all onboard data has been uploaded to the knowledge core. Over 88% of all components removed from the megaship were suitable for addition to our equipment stores. Compatibility issues are minor, since H002255 originated from the same period as when our dredger was commissioned approximately 440 semesters ago. Interesting that they're still using university language, semesters, and Dean, Dean Colonel Theselius of the Strategy College. Okay, yeah. As a result, engineering repair capacity is projected to improve by 34%, priority assigned to the recent infrastructure breaches in sections C9 and C10. Atmospheric containment in the citizen campuses suffered multiple localized failures but resulted in only a 0.8 decrease in population. I wonder how many people were on there. Salvaging procedures were halted before commencement of Stage 7 hull deconstruction on orders from Lector General Caligor. Now I wondered why. So there you go, there's your answer as to why they didn't bother crunching down the Hesperus the rest of the way. They got an order to stop before going that far. The continual influx of outsider ships in the system had increased risk assessments beyond tolerable levels, so it was because of all the people visiting the Hesperus. This is interesting, so that's filling in that part of the story there. My team has investigated reports that several uploads from the megaship became temporarily available via external ports. The disruption of our firewall grid was caused by the Knowledge Core being unable to auto-transcript for encrypted files. All data nodes have been locked to prevent any further access by outsiders, and the security risk remains low. This was just going to be a short summary video of the two stories today until they actually went and found the thing, so yeah, there we go. It happens. I think that's a record for finding something. Node 2 status inactive, drive input mode locked, proximity alert type D, unidentified vessel, input detection positive, signal preset 01D transmitting. This is a message from the Scriveners Clan. You are not authorized to access our systems. Our vessel is off limits to all outsiders and no communication is permitted. For your own safety, remove your ship from our vicinity immediately. Consider this to be an official warning. Well, okay. They could fire up those big rockets and just fry me, I guess, if they really wanted to. Let's see if I can get the other two logs without being destroyed. Nobody mentioned that you'd get destroyed for reading the logs, but then nobody said what the logs said either. Which is why I've come here for myself, not because I want to inform Orion of it, but because I just want to see for myself. And so that has explained at least one thing, why they didn't crunch down the Hesperus, and it was basically all of the tourists getting in the way. Yeah, input detection positive, signal preset 01D transmitting, and it's the same message again, apart from slightly different ID for the data node itself. I wonder if data node 4 will say the same. Well, 3. It started from 0 to 3, so the fourth data node. Let's have a look. Yeah, a node by any other name. Honestly, you know, these guys have been maintaining this ship. I saw a good comment on the forums earlier where somebody was saying, yeah, you know, I think Scriveners have got a case because, alright, just because Orion reckon they took ownership of this dredger in 3125 doesn't mean that transferal of ownership to the Scrivener clan couldn't have happened since then, and Orion wouldn't have a record of that. They've come up with this document, but for all we know, other documents exist, and the Scriveners may have registered themselves as the owner of this dredger at some time after that. But of course, because they don't like communicating with anyone, how are you going to open a dialogue with them to negotiate anything? I don't know. Nevertheless, I don't like the way that Orion University has just been so heavy-handed and like, yeah, well, you know, I know you've been maintaining your ship and looking after it and doing all the work, but it's ours. Give it back. And there's no
Yeah, well,
attempt
might
to
be an
even...
interesting story though coming up.
Yeah, there's no attempt to even offer them any compensation or tell them that they'll get them somewhere else to live. I mean, so I think the Scriveners are within their rights to say, okay then, so that's 219 years back pay, benefits, compensation for loss of earnings, and we'll take the and the comment that I thought was really funny from me in Doncaster was, yeah, you owe us big for running this ship, basically was what he was saying. And but I'll tell you what, we'll take the payments in dredgers. It will cost you 1 dredger, and we'll give you a copy of our exploration data. But we are talking about a clan that don't negotiate
Right.
with anyone. And so that would appear to be setting it up for a conflict, because if the Scriveners just ignore Orion University, Orion University presumably will come out for them in force. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't really want to come and find this ship, but considering that loads of people have already done so and already told Orion where it is, and I did want to see where it had got to. If it's been attacked or anything, doesn't look like it has. It looks like it's actually in better shape than when I last saw it. When I last saw it, it had taken a bit of damage and quite a bit of scarring. And it looks like a lot of that damage has been repaired, presumably with the materials that they got from the Hesperus. But the ship is looking in much better condition than when I last saw it. So, you know, they patched it up, they're maintaining it, and I think they should be allowed to keep it. I honestly think they should be allowed to keep it. Or heavily compensated.
Maybe they will have a CG where we have to fight against Orion or something like that for the dredgers.
That IP is hot property, man. And there's that symbol again, which led some players to wonder if there was some kind of religious background to the Scriveners. It might be. I mean, being academics wouldn't necessarily preclude them from that. But people commented on at the time, the resemblance between this symbol here and Metatron. The symbol for Metatron, the scribe and voice of the Christian god, and wondered if the Scriveners might be some kind of religious cult, or perhaps become some kind of religious cult after living on this ship for 200 years.
Yeah,
doesn't
maybe.
look like it, and it doesn't sound like it. Not from the logs, not now we know a little bit more about them.
Hi, Glenn, by the way.
Hey, Glenn. So, there it is. And I hope Orion don't get their hands on it. I really do. I think these guys deserve to keep it. It was in a bit of a state the last time I saw it. They've patched it up really nicely. They're obviously looking after it. They're not bothering anyone. And I think if Orion do go against them, then I will be sticking up for these guys, you know. Even though they don't want to talk to me, they don't want to talk to anyone. They think I'm a filthy outsider too. But I'm a filthy outsider who think these guys deserve to be paid for all the work and effort they've put into keeping this ship going for 200 years. We're all worthy of our hire. And I can't stand people who try and screw other people out of their work without paying them.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see what happens with it. It may not escalate that far. The Scriveners might have to bite the bullet and just deal with Orion University. They might have to deal with their natural distrust of outsiders and, you know, come to some kind of agreement, give over all the exploration data and be allowed to keep the dredger. Because clearly they don't need anybody else's money to run the dredger. They can just go out and salvage wrecks and keep themselves going that way. This ship looks almost pristine for a ship that is 200 years old. It looks in really, really good condition. It all seems to be patched up and working, and in the logs they mention that they've even managed to improve their repair facilities. There's still a little bit of scarring here and there. Look there, for example. There's still a little bit of scarring, but...
Yeah, they said they are doing repairs.
Yeah, but it was worse than this the last time I saw it. Much worse.
Oh, yes.
There was scarring over half the bodywork. And there's still a little bit, but no, that is already looking in better condition than when I last saw it. So yeah, let the guys keep it. Stop picking on them. There's one more theory that I want to run by you, which I've seen knocking about before we call it for this video and await further developments. What if this is actually the reformed Azimuth biochemicals using Orion University to try and get the data that the Scriveners got from the Hesperus, and maybe not just the data, perhaps they got other salvage as well. If you consider that this expedition by the Scriveners was around the same time as the Adamastor and the Hesperus were sent out on their expeditions, then it's a very similar kind of era, exploration quest, may have had very similar objectives. I'll just leave you with that one, because as usual we have no evidence either way, and this is all speculation. But that was one of the speculations that I read earlier today while I was making this video, which I thought was a really cool one. So we've been wondering how it might tie more than just tangentially into the whole Azimuth, Salvation, Adamastor and Hesperus saga, and that might just be how it does. That this whole thing with Orion University may just be a front, and Azimuth Biochemicals are so desperate to get their hands on whatever the Scriveners got from the Hesperus that they will go to any lengths to obtain that. Watch this space.